Hello. Today I'm going to attempt to show you the progress I'm making on my second gen Dodge. This was a two-wheel drive, and over the last couple days I cut out the entire front suspension in preparation for installing a Dana 60 out of a Ford F-250 Super Duty, and I'm also going to be using leaf spring suspension out of the same vehicle. I had an entire truck which I disassembled, and I have the entire front end here. So these are some of the parts that I took out of the Dodge. This is the cross member that was underneath the engine. These are the spring buckets. You can see the spring buckets there. And I'm also going to be installing this third generation Dodge rack and pinion unit. Now, in order to make that work, I'm using the Dodge tie rod ends, and to make them fit, I drilled out the spindle where the tie rod end connects here, and it's a straight drill, and then you put this adapter in there which is tapered, and the tie rod ends fit right in there. Now this front end was totally rebuilt, and I bought it complete as you see, but it had 488 gears in it, so I took those gears out and I bought another front end with 355 gears, and I put those gears in this front end. It's the first time I've ever re-geared a differential, and I used all the shims that were on it. I did buy a bearing puller from Vevor right here. That worked very well, and I did a lot of watching the YouTube videos to show you how to do that, but in the end it turned out really well. It's got a little bit of backlash, a little more than I'd like, but I don't care about the backlash because this is just a front differential. I'm very rarely going to use it. If it was a rear end, I would definitely care more, but a little backlash won't hurt me, I don't think. So I cut out the spring bucket that was here, and I cut out all the mounts there, cut out the cross member that went under there, and disconnected the steering sector shaft, and the entire suspension has been removed. Now this is the cross brace from the Ford, and it has the front hangers that I'd like to use. I don't know if I'm going to use the cross member yet because it does hang down quite a bit. I probably will not, but it's great to have it already mounted because it gives me perfect spacing. And I have some steel over here I bought. Some, I guess that's 1/8 inch or 3/16, and I've got some 1/4 inch steel plate to fabricate the brackets that I need. Definitely going to have to do some fabricating for both the front and the rear. And I cut out, I'll show you this later, but I cut out some cover, the old cover, and I cut out a section here that I'm going to put underneath these bolts, and I'm going to use that to make a mount for the rack and pinion. So I've got a piece that goes under these bolts this long, and a piece that goes under these bolts, and I'm going to fabricate a mount that I can unbolt instead of welding it directly to this like another guy did on YouTube. And then there'll be another mount over here which I'll either weld on or somehow clamp onto here for the rack and pinion mount, which is going to go here. And I expect this thing to drive beautifully. I've got a lot of fabrication work to do, but I think it'll be fine. I've watched a lot of different videos and I've done fabrication in the past, so I'm confident moving forward. Just a quick heads up, I bought this cheap Vevor compressor and I bought this cheap Vevor plasma cutter, and they cut all of that material out of the front end, no problem. Worked beautifully. This is a 220 volt plasma cutter. It works very well. I bought a big kit of spares. I use my Lincoln Electric helmet just in grind mode, and this is the welder I intend to put things back together with. It's a 170 wire feed flux core. Flux core definitely gives me better penetration, and I don't have to buy welding gas. I also have a Tombstone arc welder around here somewhere. Well, there it is right there. It's not a Tombstone, it's a Dayton. It's got slightly smaller wire and more windings than the Tombstone, and I like the finish it gives. So if I need to do heavy welding, I can. If anything gets too complicated and I feel like I'm not comfortable with the welding, we have a Boilermaker at work, and he's already said he'd be happy to come over here and help me weld stuff up, or if I need to bring stuff to him, he'll help me with that. So that's what I got going on so far. And again, this is a 95 Dodge 2nd gen. I'm converting it from 2-wheel drive to 4-wheel drive. I already put in an NV 4500 5-speed and a NP 241D transfer case and a rebuilt drive shaft, and I'm going to be putting this differential under there. Then I have a drive shaft which may or may not fit. If not, I'll get a drive shaft made for the front, and then this truck will be 6-wheel drive. Actually, it'll only be 3-wheel drive because these are both open differentials and the wheels are going to want to spin, but it'll be fine for what I'm doing. So that's it. Thanks for tuning in. There'll be more progress. I'm planning on working on it starting tomorrow morning, getting some more work done. Say hi, Django. Hi. All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Talk to you later.